ended up getting cast for it, but my main objective was to be on TV to let people know that just be happy the way you are, and we're all perfect, we can't be the same, or we may as well be robots. So I just wanted to get on there to teach kids to be happy the way they are, and it worked out good. So I'll sing the Fat Momma song one time. Fat Momma, Fat Momma, I'm here to save the day. Fat Momma, I'll take your food away. So don't eat those chips and ice cream now, because I'll take them from you so you don't look like a cat. Fat Momma, don't you try and take my donuts away.
Feedback, how did you get involved in the show?
Why, thank you for asking, Major Victor. I created an audition tape, you know, one of the 10-minute videos, and stayed up till, I think, 6 in the morning, making it for the deadline that I thought was happening. It turned out the deadline wasn't until 2 weeks after. So, yeah. But, you know, I got it done early. But actually, what's funny is they didn't even see my video. In fact, they didn't know that I existed until the open call audition. And they saw me at the open call audition, and there was a group of heroes. We were all around, and they wanted the TV cameras to kind of get a big sweeping shot of all of us. And you know, you just see there's like 500 people there, and they're all in these superhero costumes. And some are like throwing fire, and some of them have, you know, really reflective, shiny, you know, things that they're tossing in the air and wings. And I thought, God, there's no way. How am I going to be noticed? How can I let them know, you know, that I would love to go on the show. It's my life's dream. So they're trying to get everyone together for this camera to sweep and do a sweeping shot. And I noticed no one was listening to them. No one was listening to the producers. So I just yelled out, "Superheroes! We need some teamwork!" or something like that. I don't know what it was. And suddenly everyone was listening, and I was able to get everyone into like a big semicircle, and we all just kind of, the cameramen were like, "Great," and then they filmed us. And then I said, "Okay, everyone in the front, let's change ranks so people in the back get a chance to be up front." And so then suddenly everybody was listening, and people in the front were moving to the back, and people in the back moved to the front, and everyone posed. And the producers told me later that was when they realized I was on the planet. And it actually wasn't until the night of the airing of the very first episode of season 1 that the executive producer saw my audition video. So I brought it with me, and I said, you know, just in case you didn't see this, and he said, "No, I didn't see it." And then he was pretty excited because, as many of you know, I've loved Spider-Man since I was like 5, and made Spider-Man costumes and all kinds of superhero costumes. So this is really a dream come true, and I'm just so thankful that I had an opportunity to be involved. So then went from an alternate to actually being on the show, and you have seen the rest in production. But there are many things you have not seen. And we'll probably talk about some of that stuff today. You know, there were a lot of things that we did that didn't get to make it to air. And, you know, we thought for a while that some of those things were going to come out on the DVD, the first season DVD, like some extras. And some of that stuff didn't make it on there. So maybe we'll give you guys some behind-the-scenes looks at some of the things that we did. One of the things that I still remember, which I think is really super funny, was, sorry. Do you know the day when we did the dogs? Anybody remember the dog challenge? All right, well, Major Victor used to live in Japan. And so we had these big dog suits on. And he had just like the bottom of the dog suit on, those big suspenders. And he hadn't put the jacket on yet. And he did this impression of a sumo wrestler that had all of us dying.
Oh, it was a little bit funny. And move like a sumo wrestler.
And he said, "If I get hurt, I call him my lawyer." That was pretty funny, but
you had to be there.
Very, very funny. And the good thing about the show, I think what made it such a good reality show was it was really real. Like each morning you got up, you didn't know what you were gonna do. You were just thrown into a task and you didn't see the person before you. So that's why you get so many surprised looks on the faces, is because when he's doing something I have no idea, then you take him to a different part. So it was really good that everybody had to do the task and, you know, went through the stuff, and it was just a great experience.
Yeah, speaking of the dog challenge, when Monkey Woman was going through the dog challenge, and she was literally in there for like 10 or 12 minutes, and we're outside listening to that, and you're just listening to her get torn.
Well, yeah, apart. There was this big fence, right? And so we couldn't see what was happening beyond the fence. But what we could see is that every time we knew when someone went down, we'd hear the dog collar, like say the magic word, which would call off the dogs after they'd said, you know, I surrender or whatever, or uncle. Hey.
Good fans.
All right, and then we'd see the cameraman, because he's got this big heavy camera on his shoulder, he'd put the camera down and not hold it up on his shoulder. Well, Monkey Woman's in there, we're thinking, well, did we miss her saying uncle or the password to call out the dog? The cameraman's still sitting there for 10 minutes holding this camera on his shoulder. We're just looking at each other going, what is going on? You know, is she...
And those dogs were heavy, like 80 pounds. I mean, on each
Yes,
side.
And that was cool too, because one of Major Victory's powers is he can't be knocked down. So when those dogs went bam, bam, and he was able to stay up, I didn't know until afterward that that was one of his powers, and I thought, that's so awesome! And then, you know, the donut that Fat Momma threw. It turns out there's actually like doggy treats that look like big donuts, the big frosted donuts.
Those dogs wasn't having it. I knew it because the trainer said you could throw a steak and they still gonna come back. But I said I was the only one on the show to use my superpowers. I threw that donut and they knocked me over anyway. I think I was a little meatier than that donut.
Well, yeah. You know, one of the things I remember about the dog challenge is because, you know, that first challenge on the first day, or the one with the little girl. Everybody remember the challenge with the little girl?
The one where you missed the little girl?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing up such a painful memory.
No problem.
Why don't you give me a paper cut and pour lemon juice on it? So, you know, there was that one challenge which was just total trickery, and we're sitting there going, we're expecting everything, we're totally paranoid, right? And then the next day is just like a pure challenge of strength, will, determination, you know, all that stuff, where there really wasn't a trick to it. And I think it was really great the way they set up those challenges, so that suddenly we were on the lookout. Okay, do we not just have to get to the end of the thing? Do we actually have to get to the end and then find a key and come back? Or, you know, they really did a great job of setting up the way the challenges were.
Oh yeah.